Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mysterious Pals. My name is Chris, and I am here today to talk about something mysterious, probably.
Surprise.
And with me is the king of cream himself, Jordan.
King of what?
Cream.
Cream? Okay.
Yeah. You had some cows when you were growing up, didn't you?
I had cows?
I don't know, I'm asking.
No, I did not.
Oh, well maybe you're not the king of cream. Anyway, you're here today with me. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
Thank you for everybody out there who's here listening to us. If you are, if you're not, what are you doing? Tune in.
Get on board.
Get on board. What does pirates say? Surrender the booty? I don't know. Abandon all hope? Something like that. All right. In any case, today I want to talk about something mysterious. But Jordan, how was your week? You have a good week?
It was good.
Are you happy to be here?
Yes.
Okay. I had some good cereal this week. I enjoyed a bowl.
Oh, nice. All right.
I enjoyed a bowl of cinnamon life, which was really good. And I had some cinnamon toast crunch. Pretty delicious.
So you like the cinnamon?
Yeah, whatever's in the bag, whatever's in the cabinet there, because I don't buy it. Just shows up in the house. Put what I want on a list, shows up.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, I guess. A lot of other stuff goes along with that. But anyway, we're here.
What did you do for the eclipse? Anything good?
Oh, yeah, if you're here in the United States, that would say that we're in a place where you could see the eclipse. Would be a very specific type of area.
Should have been able to see it, but didn't, for the most part.
We didn't see the totality. We're not in that lane, but we did see
weather,
part of it.
Yeah, the weather wasn't great.
Yeah. I mean, that would also narrow it down.
Sure.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Saw something go in front of something else.
Yeah.
Said, cool, that's cool.
The world didn't end.
Everything was fine.
Can you imagine what it would have been like to see that happen before, before science understood what was happening? Like
A solar eclipse?
Yeah.
I mean, they're so rare. Well, it's not true. They're not that rare as you think. They're just like if you're in a right location.
Wasn't there one a couple of years ago?
There's one in August in South America. Usually, I think what happens is they're over the Pacific Ocean and stuff, so you just don't see
wasn't
them.
there one in America a couple of years ago, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I'm trying to say, what before we understood what was happening.
Oh.
What?
Like back in the day.
Yeah.
Middle Ages.
Ancient time, you're just like, what is happening? Is the world ending?
Do you think that's a lot of the folklore about gods or the mythology about gods and things come from? Like those kind of situations where we're like,
sure,
oh crap. So I'm like,
yeah.
Oh crap, that's going in front of that thing.
Yeah.
That's getting dark. We gotta stop doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Murder someone.
Sacrifice somebody.
Yeah, sacrifice someone.
Yeah. I would think
I mean, I wasn't around then.
Right. Nor was I.
Probably.
None
Unless
of us
we're
were.
reincarnated.
That's true.
Like we in the last episode, we talked about reincarnation.
You think that I would assume certain cultures and the religions thought that something bad was happening.
Yeah, like you angered them in some way.
Like a god or the god or one of the gods was angered, or one of the gods was trying to eat the other gods, because some of these cultures look at the sun as a deity. Maybe they thought you
think the Nazca people did this? That's what they made the Nazca lines?
That's exactly why. Yeah.
Another callback to another episode.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
all the callbacks.
If you didn't know what was going on,
it'd be terrifying. Also, you wouldn't know not to look at it either.
Yeah, that's just because you're not supposed to look at the sun. It's not really like it's doing anything different. It's just people look at it because they want to see it, and they hurt their eyes because they're looking at the sun. It's not like it's any different than just looking at the sun regular days. Normally, you're just like, oh, sun, bright, But you can't look at it.
It's not intensified?
No, it's just that you shouldn't be looking at the sun.
Well, I understand you shouldn't be looking at the sun, but
Yeah, it doesn't make it any worse.
Why do you need special glasses?
So you can actually look at the sun.
Yeah, man.
Otherwise, when you look at the sun, you're like, sun,
I remember I was trying to look for it. I was behind cloud coverage. I was like, where's the sun right now? I was like, that's, no.
Yeah, see? Just don't look at the sun. Yeah.
Don't look.
Most people don't. Yeah, your brain's like, don't look up there, dude. It's just when you want to look at that direction
directly,
for a long time, you need
for
glasses.
a period of time. Yeah, sure.
It's not doesn't make it any different.
All right.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a sonologist.
Sonologist?
I don't know. I think if I saw those, I was like, the uneducated grouping of like peoples back in the day, you'd probably be terrified.
Yeah.
Like a lunar eclipse too?
Yeah, the middle of the day, the sky's dark. It's like, animals are acting weird.
Yeah, like what if you were like unfortunate enough to be the guy doing something very specific and you're like, oh crap.
Yeah.
You're like the king getting ready to like do something and then all of a sudden it happens, you're like, ever just kills you?
Yeah. You're like, oh, I've doomed my people.
Yeah.
They're gonna kill me now. Goodbye, world.
Do you think that's what happened like whenever you look at like what happened with like the Mayan people? Do you think it was just something like a misunderstanding like that?
I mean, possible. I mean, I would say there's some minds, but I would assume like something
like
you're
in
like,
general.
Yeah, in general, like anybody. It's a bad omen. I would assume most people are like, this is a bad omen.
We got to get out of here.
Yeah, we're doing something wrong, or someone or amongst our people are doing something wrong. So
we got to leave this location,
leave or kill something.
Yeah, like leave this temple and move to the other side because it's not happening over there. But when we're here, it happened.
Right,
and it didn't happen the following year, so we know that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just a happenstance. It's just like.
I think it was in like 4,000 years ago in like China, they would bang like drums really loud to like do
to rock out.
To rock out, yeah. To I don't know what term that would be. To like they thought the sun was being eaten.
Oh, you're trying to scare it away.
Scare whatever the thing was. I think they thought it was a dragon eating the sun, so they would like bang on stuff to like.
That's pretty. They probably still do that.
I think that was. I could be wrong, but yeah.
That's a good idea.
It'd be terrifying.
Next time I'm going to do that.
It's bang pots and pans.
I'm just outside banging with stuff. And they're like, dude, what are you doing? The sun's getting eaten by a dragon. All right. Well, we're going to go in a little different direction today.
So we're not dealing with the death of children?
No, not like last episode, the horrifying... I had trouble sleeping.
Bad.
Yeah.
Comparative to other things we've done.
Yeah, you're right. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
We know that these kids died in your episode, but in past things were just like, they may have died. Well, I guess like, the first, was that one episode about that boy?
Walter Collins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of a bad one. That was rough. Anyway, we're going to talk about something not dealing with children today.
Okay.
We're going to go to World War II.
All right.
Time in World War II. So I'm going to set up this whole situation for you. And then we're going to kind of Tarantino it, go back, and then talk about what actually happened or what we think happened.
Okay.
I want to point out that we're talking about this because it's widely known and widely accepted this is definitely a hoax. I'm going to put that at the beginning.
Oh, really?
Probably. Like, obviously in this show, we're talking about this type of stuff, so we don't want to be like, yeah, this is a hoax, so don't even listen to it. Like, there's some good information, but I'm more interested, I chose this topic because I'm more interested in, like, societal understandings and like why people were thinking this is real and why people still think this really happened and what was going on, what actually was told in the story and how the story became a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
But in general, I think it's just an interesting story and it spawned many things. But anyway.
I'm intrigued.
Intrigation is what I do. On October 28th, 1943, I don't think that's a word anyway. In the midst of WW2, a ship called the USS Eldridge, a cannon-class destroyer escort ship, was docked in Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. This ship, on this date, disappeared in a green haze and then reappeared.
The green haze?
In a green haze. This ship also had people on it.
All right.
Yeah, the crew and everything. We'll go into what happened to those people. This event is what is known as the Philadelphia Experiment.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah. Have you know anything about the Philadelphia Experiment?
I didn't look into it, but like very little. Like, didn't the ship disappear and then reappear somewhere else?
Possibly.
Okay.
Some think that did happen. Some people think it went back in time. Like, there's a lot of.
So this happened in a green phase, like a green
haze appeared, was like left, and then it came back. It's phased in and out.
Do you ever heard of a green flash?
Yeah, when the sun goes down over the ocean.
Yeah, there's like a split second where like a flash is green.
Is that real?
Apparently.
I know it was in that movie, but I don't.
The Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's real.
I think it's real. I'm not saying like the Pirates of the Caribbean movie was real. But there's even a brewery called Green Flash based off of that. I'm not saying that makes it real, but
in a comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah, the real Flash is like brother.
He's green.
Yeah.
All
okay, so Again, this event is known as the Philadelphia experiment. So what we're going to do is we're talking about what happened on that October day to this ship, the crew, and those who watched this event outside the Eldridge. So people that saw it happen. We think that we know of.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about not only why this is what happened in this story, but why we consider this a conspiracy theory and why we consider it like people still think it's true and actually happened.
Also, timing's kind of weird during World War II, right?
Right. Which is when a lot of like military stuff, conspiracy theories really start.
Yeah.
During a time of war.
Sure.
Yep. So in the 1930s, a little man who not so well known named Albert Einstein.
Oh.
Have you heard of
him? Yes.
Okay. So this guy, this feller, was trying to develop his unified field theory. Okay. And we're going to go into what that is later. I don't expect you to know. I don't expect our listeners to know exactly what it is. I barely know what it is, but I'm going to try to explain it a little later.
Einstein. Al Einstein. All right.
Yeah. Oh, LB.
LB.
Big AE. Okay. So in 1940s, World War II was underway, and the U.S. Navy is exploring various scientific and technological advancements to gain an edge over its adversaries.
Sure.
We're talking about the Nazis at the time.
Yeah. Everyone was doing that during the time.
Yeah. Time of war. Between 1942 and 1943, allegedly, the U.S. Navy initiates a top-secret project known as Project Rainbow. The objective of it is to develop technology to render ships invisible to radar detection using Einstein's unified field theory in concept. So, in this date, again, going back, October 28th, some people also, there's also stories that it actually happened in the summer or that they were testing something in the summer, but in any case, there's a lot of conflicting stories out there because we'll go into how this became a story. But this Cannon-class destroyer escort ship was 300 feet long and 1,200 tons.
Okay.
A big ship.
All right.
This thing supposedly disappeared and then reappeared.
Is this one of the pieces that are in Battleship? An escort ship?
This was...
Because I know there's like different pieces in Battleship, but one's actual Battleship, but there's always like little like size ones.
There's a submarine. And
is escort ship one of those?
I don't know, dog.
All right.
I had friends. I didn't have to play Battleship with my dad, like a weirdo. The rumor was the government was creating technology again that would render naval ships invisible.
Pretty cool.
Yes, and that's what was being tested at this time in this Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. This experiment was said to draw inspiration from a concept discussed and was being researched by Albert Einstein called unified field theory, a term coined by Albert Einstein to describe theories aiming to unify electromagnetism and gravity into a single framework, both mathematically and physically.
Well, if anyone could do it, it would have been Albert Einstein.
And he didn't, so I guess we're not doing it. Yeah.
The end.
According to some accounts, though, certain researchers believe that manipulating this unified field theory could allow them to use large electrical generators to bend light around objects through refraction, effectively rendering it completely invisible.
Like a big mirror around them.
Kind of the idea is that when you look at something, and there's actually companies doing this now in smaller scales. I think there's one that just got like talked about in the news recently. But basically, it's like it makes light. You hold something in front of you, and it like basically projects what's behind you, in front of you, kind of thing.
Okay.
At this time, that's what this new stuff is doing. But like at this time, it was the idea that it could take light and like almost like a hologram or lenticular, what they actually call it, a hologram, like a lenticular, and bend the light in a way that you can't see what's there. Right. It's the easiest way I can try to explain it. But
magic.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Obviously, the Navy saw some kind of potential value in this.
Sure.
Obviously,
I mean, that's
during this time of war. Yeah. There are also versions of the story that mentions related experiments by Nazi Germany that are also they're also kind of working on anti-gravity and obviously there's a lot of other things the Nazis were working on at this time, but this realm of science. They're saying this kind of like military experimentation was kind of rooted in this idea of like Nazis were working on stuff, we were working on stuff, Britain or United Kingdom was working on stuff. Everybody was working on some type of military technology at the time.
Yes, like the atomic bomb.
Right. Again, there's some reports that this testing actually begun in the summer of 1943, but this
is a race because they're hearing the enemies are doing the same thing, so they get a race to get it done.
Right.
Or see if it actually works.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So during the test, the Eldridge was rendered nearly invisible, with witnesses reporting a greenish fog in its place. Okay. Now, if you're going back to like the idea of this, we're trying to bend light around it. So technically, it shouldn't have actually moved at all. It should have just stayed right there. It just the something around it would have made it invisible. It's like a cloaking thing as opposed to like a teleportation thing. But what happened what's reported is that actually the Eldridge disappeared, physically disappeared, and reappeared in Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay, I heard that.
And then phasing back almost like shortly after back to the Naval Shipyard, in Philadelphia.
Teleported.
Correct. When that happened, there's reports that crew members were found embedded in the ship's metal structures, including one sailor who ended up on a different deck with his hand embedded in the steel hull. Some sailors reported that some sailors had severe nausea, had difficulty understanding time, and that almost they were caught in a time loop. There were some that had severe mental disorders or mental distress after this, which could be related to a conspiracy theory of the government basically wiping their memory of this happening.
Right. This goes deep.
Right. Yeah, we're deep state here.
I mean, like again, probably didn't actually happen, but I would imagine did teleport. I'd probably be, if I was one of these sailors, I'd probably be pretty distraught too.
Yep.
Like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, especially if your friend is now hanging, half his leg is stuck in the metal hull.
Right, yeah.
And that's the
idea.
idea.
How do we get him out? No, he's part of the ship now.
It's the idea of like that science fiction idea of like teleportation, where like everybody gets I guess to understand teleportation from a science.
Do they like break apart and then come back together again? Like on
so like in sci-fi, the stories I was like, well, they came back and like the dog, the dog was part of the human now. And,
yeah.
But I guess technically they have to actually destroy. I guess the theory behind teleportation is like you gotta actually destroy this person and rebuild him as simply new.
Yeah.
Sounds like hell.
Yeah, that was a big part of. Oh my gosh, did you ever see that Christopher Nolan movie? The Prestige.
Nope.
Got the same principle.
Nah, I'm good.
That's good.
So also going back, the Eldridge, when it disappeared and is said to have reappeared in Norfolk, Virginia, that's over 200 miles. It's not like it's sailed there and sailed back. It's like 200 miles away. Okay, so we got that basic thing. It's claimed that there was a ship in Norfolk that observed this happen, called the SS Andrew Forsyth.
Okay.
They saw it vanish and then it phased in and phased out.
So people witnessed this.
Supposedly.
Okay.
That's
not just one guy, not just one crazy kook.
We don't know. We'll get there.
All right.
Great question. It's almost like conspiracy theories are made to be confusing as hell.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did this story come from? Just right there, I went. Grab the audience and brought him back in with my hand. If you weren't viewing if you were listening,
come with me.
I reached out, my hand grabbed and pulled back.
Come, my children.
Bring you in to the origins of the story of the Eldridge and the Philadelphia experiment. You're just tuning into this broadcast.
Can I say something?
Nope.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Part of me thinks this is just like a propaganda stunt by the U.S. Navy to be like, hey, we have this ability to do this to our enemies.
Kind of like Operation Blue Book.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting because I don't know if that comes up as one of the theories I found.
Okay.
But that's really interesting because part of the problem is, we'll go into it, the naval Research Office, the Office of Naval Research, which we're going to talk about, was confused as hell about this too.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to go into next, the origin of the story.
All right.
The story began in late 1955 when the Office of Naval Research, ONR, which I'm going to refer to now from now on as ONR, was sent an anonymous package marked Happy Easter. So the U.S. Office of Naval Research received this package. It's a Happy Easter.
All right.
Inside the package was a copy of a book by Morris K. Jessup titled The Case for the UFO, Unidentified Flying Objects.
Oh, here we go.
But wait, the book contained handwritten notes in the margins, penned with 3 different shades of blue ink. The annotations, which we're going to call the annotated version now of this book, seem to detail a debate among 3 individuals: Jemmy, Mr. A, Jemmy, Mr. A, and Mr. B. Not Mr. Beast.
We're going to hashtag him in this.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Just because you use the word, maybe that'll come up. When people search Mr. Beast.
You're like, oh,
it's in like the,
yeah.
Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast. Anyway. The mysterious commenters discussed Jessup's ideas about UFO propulsion, alien races, and expressed concern that Jessup was getting close to their technology. We're going to know who Jessup is.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Because he's involved in this.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. Okay.
Yeah. Morris K. Jessup. He's an author, and we'll go over who he is. He's also like an astronomer and stuff. Interestingly, these notes made oblique references to the Philadelphia experiment. So all the notes in this book referenced everything that was written in the book and also referenced this event.
Okay.
That's where it's come from. That's where this comes from. So the claims that, again, according to the information found in the package, the experiment involved the U.S. Navy trying to render this ship, the USS Eldridge, invisible. However, based on the report that this was in this package, the results were far from what was expected. The person who sent the package described bizarre occurrences, as we talked about, including the ship disappearing and reappearing, and the crew members getting stuck to the hull and everything crazy like that. At the same time, though, the author of the book, Morris K. Jessup, was getting letters from someone who called himself Carlos Miguel Allende. And actually, it was a few years prior to whenever the ONR got their package, but he was getting correspondence from this person named Carlos Miguel Allende. Okay. In Jessup's version, Allende claimed to have witnessed this experiment while serving aboard the SS Andrew Forsyth. I talked about before.
So
the one in Norfolk.
Yeah.
We saw it phase in, phase out. Okay. In Allende's account, a destroyer escort was successfully made invisible, but the ship inexplicably teleported to Norfolk, Virginia, for several minutes, then reappeared in Philadelphia. As discussed prior, the ship's crew was supposed to have suffered the various elements we talked about, some being even frozen in place, stuck in a time loop.
Okay.
So not only was some frozen, like kind of melted the ship, based on Jessup's version, the letter said that people were actually stuck in a time loop, frozen, were never able to move again, stuff like that.
Terrible. What if those guys just going to the bathroom, just in a time loop
forever,
consistently?
I mean, at least it'd be enjoyable, I guess. Like,
yeah, but if you have to keep going through it over and over and over, like,
hey,
all right,
that'll teach you to be in the Navy, I guess. So when Jessup wrote back requesting more information to corroborate his story, Allende said his memory would have to be recovered and referred Jessup to what seems to be a non-existent Philadelphia newspaper article that Allende claimed covered the incident, which he said, go look at this article on this date. I guess he never found it. Here's the thing. We're going to find out Jessup had issues. Had a lot of mental problems. Although he's like a pretty educated person.
Okay.
The first known letter warned Jessup not to investigate the levitation of unidentified flying objects. Allende put forward a story of dangerous science based on alleged unpublished theories by Albert Einstein. So he was kind of like telling Jessup about all this stuff, being like, if you go snooping around, the government's going to come after you.
Yeah.
He further claimed, Allende, that a scientist named Franklin Reno put these theories into practice at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in October 1943. So that was Jessup's version of the story.
Yeah. Jessup strikes me as someone who wears like one of those aluminum foil hats.
I think Allende is more of that. Jessup was actually...
Is Allende even real?
We didn't get there yet, Dom.
I'm just saying that you...
Hit the brakes.
But it seems
Put
like...
the boat in reverse.
Back her up. But it seems
Teleport back to Philly.
Nice. It seems like we're just basing off, as of now, this Allende guy is based off of Jessup. But Jessup
was getting these letters. So was the ONR.
Oh, also from... All right. Okay.
So, yes. That's what we're going to next.
Okay.
So, the author, Jessup, was later shown the annotated copy of his book by the ONR. So, he had a meetup somehow. He was at the same time with
they probably
people from the
questions
NFR.
like, hey, man, what's,
right.
You know.
And so, he noticed it because they got this book like anonymously.
Yeah.
With all this information in it. And all this stuff about Navy
it said like
research.
Happy Easter.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Anonymous. They didn't know who did it, who sent it.
He didn't send it. Okay, sorry.
So he did not send it.
That's right.
So he noticed the handwriting resembled the letters he had received from a person named Carlos Miguel Allende.
Oh.
So Jessup
twist.
Yeah, Jessup noticed the writing in the book that they received, the ONR.
Yeah.
However, even though he knew it was from Allende, he didn't say anything. The ONR that he knew that. Because he wanted to keep the story mysterious and make the government keep looking into aliens and like teleportation and stuff.
Allende, alien. I mean,
wait, we'll get there. It's even better than that. His real name's even better.
All right.
It's Chef's Kiss.
E.T.
Yeah.
Name's E.T.
Yeah. Steven Spielberg. Yeah. What a nice guy. Okay, so who was Jessup? Let's go into what this guy is.
Yeah.
So he's an American author, ufologist, who gained prominence in the mid-20th century for his writings on UFOs and related phenomena. He was born in 1900 in Indiana. He studied astronomy at the University of Michigan, so he had a background in science and space. Yeah. His most notable work was in the field of ufology in the book titled The Case for the UFO, which is what was sent out, and that was published in 1955.
Right, so, but this all started in 43?
That's when the event started.
Yeah. When was
Communications
Roswell?
started in 55.
Roswell was 48?
We looked maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think we looked it up before.
All right.
In this book, Jessup explored various UFO sightings, encounters, and theories, attempting to provide a comprehensive analysis of the phenomenon. Based on what I found about this guy, Jessup, he was really into space and like he was just really into understanding space and like what's out there.
Sure.
Because he has an astronomy background, he liked space.
This is not really terrible, but the fact that his name's Jessup, that makes me feel like he's not.
Why?
His name's Jessup.
Morris K. Jessup.
Yeah, last name's Jessup.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't trust him.
Is that your last name? So you don't trust him? All right, so Jessup. It's like ketchup. It's a weird...
Catsup.
Yeah, catsup. Okay. He delved into topics such as extraterrestrial life, advanced technologies, and government secrecy surrounding UFO investigations. That's where he kind of got himself in a little bit of trouble. One of the reasons for Jessup's enduring fame in ufology is the association with the Philadelphia experiment.
Okay.
In 1955, Jessup received letters from Carlos Miguel Allende, which is the same year his book released, who claimed to have witnessed the alleged experiment in invisibility involving the USS Eldridge during World War II. This is 55, whenever he got the book got published. That same year, received the letter or the annotations from Allende.
Right.
Actually, I don't know if he got... Actually, I'm going to step back because I'm not sure if his book was annotated in the same way. He may have just received... I think what was happening, he was receiving correspondence from Allende claiming what was going on. He didn't actually receive the ONR was the one who received the book that was annotated.
That they annotated with the three different blue.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is, sorry, was that Jessup was one of the annotators in that? And then it was
no. Jamie or Jemmy?
Jemmy. And then something A, something
Mr.
B.
A, Mr. B.
Okay.
Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast.
Beast.
Yeah. So where did the story come from then? Jessup incorporated Allende's accounts into his research and published an annotated version of his book, speculating on the possibility of the government involvement in the secret experiments. So he kind of capitalized on this, right? After the ONR came to him, he was like, crap. So what do you think is going on now? Knowing that, do you think Carlos is real? Do you think Jessup made it up? Do you think Jessup was the one that sent the letter to the...
Yeah, I definitely get the vibe that this Jessup guy is just like a... he's clearly an educated man, right? Studied science and...
He sat in a classroom a couple of years.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure,
no, it's true. Yes, he is.
But I also think he might be taking advantage of the hype of UFOs. Like I said, 1948, the whole Roswell incident. Things it's becoming like since then it's becoming
Cold War starting to ramp up. Yeah.
I think the impression he's a bit of a kook.
Maybe.
But maybe not.
Maybe he got bored.
Yeah.
Was running to write a book. I think the one thing that stands out about Jessup, from what I read, he actually had a degree in astronomy, but he did not actually work in that field. He may have been like, I don't know if he was like actual teacher. Like when I say teacher, I mean like a professor or anything. But I don't think he actually worked in that field. I think he was a salesman, and he just did that for fun, basically.
I also get the impression he might have thought he was abducted at one point,
possibly,
and just like his brain went.
What would you do if you were abducted? Would you tell me if you got abducted? Or would you just keep it to yourself?
I like to think so.
Think you've ever been abducted?
No.
By the aliens, not like by some guy on the street. Yeah.
Hey, get in my van, kid.
Yeah.
Do you think I have been abducted? No.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Would you tell people?
Would I know? Would they want me to know? I feel like they wouldn't want me to know.
I mean, college was a crazy time.
Yeah, that's true. They've been like, oh, this guy looks good.
Yeah.
He likes to drink. He won't remember anything.
Do you think you would tell people if you remembered it?
So initially I was like, yes, but then I'm like, they're going to think I'm crazy. This dude's crazy.
Yeah. That's the problem.
You ever see Fire in the Sky?
No.
I saw parts of it, and there's a scene. It came out. I don't know if it was a movie.
We were pretty young when it came out.
Yeah. Was it a movie or a miniseries?
I think it was a movie. I'm not sure.
But there's a scene. I remember seeing. There's a scene where like he's getting he gets abducted.
It's a scene I remember seeing.
And it's like it was like, oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, it was a sci-fi mystery.
But apparently, it's like based on a real story.
It's 1993 PG-13 movie.
Okay. I remember like being terrified. Even like the poster or whatever that image is like. But yeah, that scene is like terrified, man.
Yeah, with the guy like this poster, the guy getting pulled up.
Yeah,
yeah.
Or like the way they portray the aliens in that was disturbing.
I never saw the aliens, but I hate whenever they like. You remember Signs?
Yeah.
When they showed the alien walking across the screen.
Mm-hmm.
That's so dumb.
It just looked like clumsy.
They should have never showed it.
Yeah.
It would have been so much better if they didn't show that.
It was briefly.
Exactly. They should have never showed it.
Yeah. You don't like. I remember there was a time where like people were like, "Oh, I was abducted." There's also some farmer out in the middle of nowhere. Do you really hear about people getting abducted by aliens anymore?
I guarantee you, if you go on Facebook and type in "abducted by aliens" or go on the internet,
oh, of course,
Reddit accounts, like
of course, yes. But I'm saying like there was like in the news, like
that's the only way it got out there.
Yeah.
I mean, probably if you went to that town, went to the bar in that town, there were probably 30 guys in there telling they're abducted.
It was also around the same time like crop circles were a thing, and that's kind of been debunked.
Fake.
So like, I don't know.
People, I mean, now they can just be an influencer. If you get abducted now and you're on Instagram, you're probably famous as hell.
Yeah. But why are they always abducting these people in these rural small towns by themselves? Like, is that it?
It's easier to get in and out. I'm not going to go to a city. I'm not going to fly my magic ship to the city and be like, hey, I'm going to pick up these dude.
Yeah, I mean, why not, though? To me, witnesses?
Someone see me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this on the... There's a theory that, like, what's that theory that, like, Earth is like a farm? Or, like, we got planted here, and they're kind of just letting us grow and, like, repopulate because they need us for...
I don't know.
What's that theory? Like,
I remember seeing in South Park, like, where Earth is just a reality TV show for aliens.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Again, all of our popular culture comes from cartoons.
We're educated people.
Like, no, there's, like, the theory that, like, we are basically, like, a repropagation of, like, like the aliens use us to get new DNA because they messed up their own, or something like that.
That's kind of along the lines of like the Matrix. No, they weren't aliens, but the robot overlords took over and they were using us for energy in the Matrix. Was that a thing?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't think I ever saw.
What?
No, I saw. No, I never saw the. I don't think I ever saw the first one. I saw like the second two.
Why would you? Were you just like, what the hell's going on the whole time?
Yeah, because I think I was in college when the second one came out, and we was like, let's go see this movie, and I'm like, okay. I was confused as hell, but I watched it.
The action was cool.
And I think I saw the third one, and I was like, I should really see the first one.
Yeah, sure.
Figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, Keanu Reeves is awesome.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can't do anything
Lawrence
wrong.
Fishburne was great in that.
Who?
Carrie Moss. Yeah, that was great.
The twins?
Oh, the twins were in the second one. Those dudes are creepy.
Yeah.
They're like the dreads.
With the truck scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never saw the newest one. Did you see the newest one?
I did. It's fine.
Another movie.
I feel like I should rewatch it because there's like a lot of hidden things in there. But yeah.
Did you ever see Jupiter Rising?
No.
Everybody always clowns on that movie. It's like the Wachowski brothers, the guys who made the original Matrix, right?
There wasn't like Channing Tatum in that.
Yeah, and like he's in Mila Kunis, and he's like a werewolf guy, part human, part werewolf. Yeah, and he rollerblades through the sky, through the air. Yeah,
he rollerblades.
Yeah, like through the air, and that's how he gets around.
Stupid
He's like an alien.
So
it's supposedly the dumbest movie ever.
He's a werewolf.
I think he's part werewolf.
Sure, you're not thinking of
No, man.
No, man.
I know dumb crap.
Did you ever see Cloud Atlas? That's a movie. It's based on a book. The Wachowskis did that one.
Yeah. Is that There's a
lot of like time jumping and time.
Is that the Forrest Gump guys in that?
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, like I liked it, but apparently it was a bomb.
You see the tree or something?
Never
mind.
Tree?
Yeah, it was like a tree. The dumbest movie ever.
Tree of Life? Or is Hugh Jackman in it?
Yes.
I didn't see. I want to watch that.
That's
though.
the dumbest movie. It's the most boring pile of crap I've ever seen in my life. I was like, this is the longest pile of garbage.
I want to watch because I like Hugh Jackman a lot. He can do it all.
Nah.
No?
Not the tree.
Oh, not the tree.
This is gonna make you not like him anymore.
Was he the tree in the movie?
Yeah.
He just played a tree.
I'm like, you're such a bad actor. Jupiter Ascending, not Jupiter Rising. Okay, so Channing Tatum, old Channing. Oh my God, this is the dumbest thing ever.
He's one of those actors. And there's a thing. This is a thing for a long time. Like they were in every movie that came out for like years. Like he was like him and Jonah Hill, Jennifer Lawrence. Were just like
I think Jennifer Lawrence made so much money. She could do whatever she wants.
But all of them, like they're just in like 2 movies a year for like 5 years. They were in everything.
Yeah,
all these actors, and they're just like,
what's that girl from? Everybody from Superbad.
Yeah, Emma Stone.
Yeah, she was
Jonah Hill.
I mean, they made so much money. They're like, I'm good. I think some of them had some issues.
I mean,
I don't care.
I don't know.
Okay, so wait. Channing Tatum is Kane Wise.
What's his
like
name?
Canine Wise.
Oh my God.
Half human, half canine.
Oh my God. What? Is this based on something? I would be surprised if it wasn't, considering if the
Mila
Wachowskis
Kunis
did
is
this,
Jupiter Jones. There's a secret.
Oh my God.
There's a secret kingdom inside Jupiter. Alien kingdom.
Oh, that reminds me of did you ever see John Carter?
It's not like a super bad movie that everybody
I liked it a lot.
on.
It was good. It's like this
He
dude
can jump real far.
Yeah.
He's from Earth.
Yeah. He was a Civil War guy, got somehow transported.
Wasn't it Disney?
Yeah.
And they like take a huge loss on it and mess up a lot of stuff.
Yep. I actually thought that was a pretty good movie.
So
he's part dog.
Yeah.
And he rollerblades across the sky.
So Channing Tatum, Canine Wise, interplanetary warrior who informs Jones that her destiny extends beyond Earth.
Become the queen of the dog people.
She's
who can rollerblade. I mean, this movie might be fine, but you're not selling it very well.
No, it's really bad.
I always feel bad, crapping on movies because like there's people who actually do like a lot of work to get these things done.
Maybe they should have worked on a better movie. I don't know. I mean, yes, it's a lot of work to make a movie, but if the concept is bad, who is funding? I mean, obviously there's a person at the top is giving them money to do
Sure,
it.
but some of these people just need to work.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Not necessarily the actors. I'm saying like the people.
I'm
like,
glad they got
like,
paid.
Yeah.
But bad movies don't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they should have. I don't know.
But they can later on. A lot of the movies that like they're considered bad. They get like a weird second life because they're bad.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad movies, did you ever see the movie Tiptoe?
No, what?
Tiptoes, I think it's called.
Tiptoes?
No, is it Tiptoes? It's I found out about it through Tosh.0. Matthew McConaughey's in it. Gary Oldman's in it. Who else is in that? Anyways, Matthew McConaughey has a brother who's played by Gary Oldman. He's a little person. But they do it so badly. It's supposed to be like a serious movie, but it's like so badly done.
It's like that one movie that everybody, the worst movie ever or something, or it was all about the internet recently or a couple years ago. Our friend was really into it because he thought it was hilarious and it was a really bad movie.
Wait, what movie?
I don't know, man. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out why Jupiter's rising or Jupiter's ascending. Apparently, she's just this girl who's a cleaner who's like, hey, you're actually the queen of Jupiter. Because Earth was just a place to harvest people for like the aliens.
Oh, that's how that started.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And it's basically like
But is that an actual theory? Like people think the Earth is.
Yeah.
Or just basing it off of this
like
movie?
we're farmed. Like we were planted here. There's tons of theories about that.
Right.
Like humans were planted here. Where the hell were we? What are we talking about? Sean Bean's in it.
Who? Sean
Bean.
Oh, he's
Stinger Apney.
He's great.
He's a Han Solo type character. All right, let's go back to this other crap.
I think we just do a thing where we just talk about dumb movies and stuff.
Yeah, we'll watch a movie and be like, this is sucked. All right, so we have to do that actually. All right. Okay, so going back.
So wait, how did this start?
Okay,
how did we go on that tangent? Let's cut to.
Okay.
For those who want to.
I in the last episode
I saw that
tangent in, tangent out.
But it was all like more than half of it was just tangent.
Hey, I marked it.
Hey.
Yeah. Jump ahead if you don't like it. Okay. So Jessup incorporated Allende's accounts into his research and published an annotated version of his book speculating on the possibility of government involvement in the secret experiments.
Yep.
Okay, so that's where we're at. While Jessup's work garnered attention in UFO circles, it also attracted controversy and skepticism by mainstream scientists and even skeptics. So even the skeptics...
They were like, this guy...
Look at this guy. This fella over here. He's full of balonies. So the ONR discussed the annotations with a person named Austin N. Stanton. So Austin Stanton was a president of Varro Manufacturing Corporation in Texas. During their meeting about the contract with the ONR, okay, Stanton got a chance to see the book, the annotated version that the ONR had. He became so interested in it that he began to produce copies of the book with the annotations, and it's called, with all of Allen's letters, it's called the Varro edition. Apparently, you can still buy this. There's only 127 of them apparently made, the original ones.
Yeah.
You can still buy, but it's insanely expensive. There's like reprints of it, but also because there's some research, there were not that many of them reprinted. It's also very expensive. You can get on eBay and stuff, and Amazon maybe. When this happened and the Varro edition started to sell, who do you think came knocking on the door?
The government.
Nope.
The guy was writing letters to
Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlos shows up and said, "Hey,
where's my cut?
Carlos Miguel Allende was also known as, by his given name, his Christian name, if you will, Carl Meredith Allen.
All right. Interesting.
His pen name, or the name that he used as his, what's that called when you have a different name? An alias?
Yeah. Pen name.
Carlos Miguel Allende was Carl Meredith Allen. Allende spelled Allende. Yes. Carl Allen was a merchant marine who played a central role in this story, in that it came out, getting the story out there. He was born in 1925 in Springdale, Pennsylvania. He was one of 5 children. He was He possessed, quote, a fantastic mind. However, he was known in later life as a drifter. Never held a job for very long.
Interesting.
He had the reputation by his family as a master leg puller, which seems to be...
A master leg puller?
Yes. Seems to be something that would be great to be known as, but also kind of suck.
Yeah, no one would take you seriously.
Yes. He was known to pull pranks to avoid work, especially in his time in the Navy.
Work.
Yeah. So
this guy seems reliable.
So he joined the U.S. Marine Corps in 1942, but was discharged yet less than a year later. He then enlisted in the Merchant Marines. He was served in various ships, including the SS Andrew Forsyth, until 1952 when he left the service. So he was on that boat.
Okay.
Records of him being on the boat.
All right.
Right.
But he's a master leg puller.
Well, who's not these days? Know what I mean? Do you ever see social media? It's crazy up there.
Yeah.
YouTube. You ever check out a video on YouTube? Right, America? All right. So he claimed that in 1943 he witnessed an invisibility experiment carried out by the Navy at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. However, he was known to be in Norfolk during this event. He claimed that he was there when it transported in, transported out. According to his account, he met Albert Einstein during the experiment and even...
He met Albert Einstein.
Right, and he was schooled in physics by the renowned physicist. So he was like, even mentioned, I was taught by Albert Einstein during this experiment. He came and talked to me about it. Throughout life, he used multiple aliases, so he's known to have multiple aliases, including Carlos Miguel Allende. And also Carlos Miguel Cristoforo Allende. I don't know. And even Dr. Carl Meredith Allenstein.
Dr.
Allenstein. Yes. He was all over the United States, especially in Colorado, Mexico. He eventually settled in Colorado, where he passed away in 1994. Okay. So he, at old age, he was known to be a drifter, but settled down eventually. He was the one who sent the anonymous package to the ONR. He had all the notes, and he annotated the book, Jessup's book.
Yep.
However, over time, even up to this day, people try to research him and try to find out more about him. They go to his parents' house, his family's house, who still live in New Kensington, Pennsylvania. They go there, and people his family's just like, he was just a leg puller. He was known to be a liar.
Sure.
Like, don't believe anything that guy says. He was very brilliant, but he was also just
full of it,
drifter, and didn't care. So
I feel like he'd be annoying to hang out with.
Yeah, like hanging out with you. There's a no. Jessup, though, after this book release, so this reprint of the book, so he got kind of destroyed based on he reprinted his book with these annotations, which is what Varro did.
Right.
He got it published, but what happened was all of a sudden he started like losing credibility, pushing this theory, because people were like, "Hey, man, this is one guy telling you this. All this came out," and everybody's like, "This is not real."
Yeah.
This one guy came out just because people started making money off his work, supposedly.
Yeah, it came out of the woodwork all of a sudden.
Basically, what happened was Jessup got divorced, he lost custody of children, something like that, and he committed suicide in 1959, which only
Jessup did?
Jessup did.
1959. Oh, yeah.
He committed suicide 4 years after he released his book, which started this whole thing.
Another happy story, Chris.
Right. At least it wasn't children. So he committed suicide, which only led to the
speculation. Like,
did he
commit suicide?
Did he actually commit suicide? Right.
We got Gary Webb on our hands.
Yep. Beep, beep. Gary Webb had. All right. So we're going to go back to, okay, that's the whole story. We're going to go into just like some concepts of like the science behind it, like what actually was going on maybe, or could it be, what people attribute to that. And actually, what I want to go to then is why the project became so popular. So
this is like a national thing, because it's like a book was being published.
There's a movie in 1984 about it.
Oh, geez. All right.
Like a pretty well-known Warner Brothers production.
Okay.
Called The Philadelphia Experiment. Yeah. 1984, though. I mean, who cares? VHS tape. I don't know. Where am I going to find that at, right?
If only there was a story you can go to.
Yeah.
Well, but like, so the book was published in what, 1950?
His book, the original book, was
Yeah.
55. That's the same year that the ONR got.
Right. But there's only so many that were. You said only 150 were published.
No, that was the Varro edition
That's
of the
right.
book. Yeah.
So this is like prior to 1980 when the movie was made. Like people, I assume have heard about this.
Oh,
right?
it's gonna. You'll see. It gets big. It blows up because that's part of the problem. So yeah. So Jessup received the letters in 1955
Yep.
from Allende. The ONR received the annotated book in 1955 also, and later in 1955 supposedly. Well, that actually did happen. Whether what was in it, suppose it is like what was in it.
Okay.
If the information was true, but anyway.
Big if.
So this is the science behind this concept or the experiment. The science behind the Philadelphia experiment is rooted in the realms of theoretical physics, and electromagnetism. Proponents of this theory, or this experiment, claim that it was made possible through manipulation of electromagnetic fields surrounding the USS Eldridge. One of the theories behind this involves electromagnetic radiation. Scientists involved in the experiment sought to exploit the principles of electromagnetic radiation to achieve invisibility and teleportation. The idea is electromagnetic radiation encompasses various forms of energy, including visible light, radio waves, and microwaves and X-rays.
Yeah.
Somehow they manipulated electromagnetism to teleport or render it invisible.
Is that? I find something in there has to deal with sonar, right? As far as like,
ultimately they were trying to
because they were trying to be invisible with sonar, but I'm saying as far as like
they were trying to be visible visibly,
yeah,
visual eye, but also sonar. Would that work or not?
Right.
Yeah, sonar does come up in the idea of it because sonar was pretty big at that time.
Yeah.
The idea, there's another concept of they were working on something called cloaking technology, which we just talked about, that could render the ships invisible to radar detection and also visible detection. The concept is akin to stealth technology. So we have that now, and that's part of the problem with the conspiracy theories. Like, we have stealth technology. Maybe that's where it started.
Is that like the B-52?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them. Stealth bomber, B-52. Yeah.
Like visible. That's weird, man.
It's weird. It
started
basically
like that.
The idea is that radar systems, basically this. They found out if you make the shape of the plane a certain way, radar waves bounce off of it.
The plane's completely different than a big ship,
right?
Naval ship, like that's totally different in size.
There are stories about this thing that this event that the ship was full of like big generators that generate a lot of energy, and that was the problem with it. It had to generate so much energy to create this thing. So that's kind of the idea behind like people that were like on the ship, quote,
right?
Were like saying how much.
How do you sustain that too?
Right, that's the problem with it. Apparently, supposedly, what do I know? Some proponents of the Philadelphia experiment invoked concepts from quantum mechanics, particularly those related to manipulation of space and time and quantum entanglement theory.
All right over my head.
Quantum entanglement is pretty interesting. There's a lot of research being done about that right now.
I know. I watched Big Bang Theory. I understand it.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't understand any of it.
The idea suggests that altering the fabric of space-time could enable teleportation or the bending of light around an object to achieve invisibility.
Okay.
Right. I guess one of the theories was like they actually did go from Philadelphia to Norfolk, but like they did it using space-time in a way that made them actually just go there really quickly, and then go back. But it looked like a flash to the people in normal time. You know, they created like a wormhole type of thing.
Do they? Oh, this is kind of an odd thing to like focus on, but the green haze.
That's just what was reported as being there. Yeah.
I wonder why the green.
The other theory, last theory that we have for this, is the conspiracy theory often references the notion of unified field theory. That's the framework I talked about at the beginning. That you want to. Albert Einstein tried to unify the fundamental forces of nature, gravity, electromagnetism, and other strong and weak nuclear forces in a single theoretical framework. The idea is that if you can get that, if he or whoever could kind of create that unified field theory in a way that's mathematically possible, that you can achieve these type of things.
So this is an actual legit theory he tried. Like this is like
unified field theory is what he was working on. It's like what
that's known. Like that's like
yes,
okay,
very well known.
Make sure
scientists today are still working on that.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure if this is what the Jessup guy said he was doing. Or...
Right. So gravity, electromagnetism, and weak and strong nuclear bonds are the forces of everything.
Okay.
And the problem is, I guess Einstein couldn't actually make
manipulate them.
No, he couldn't figure out a way that they all made sense together.
Oh, okay.
But if you could figure out how mathematically they can
unification.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you could figure out how to make sense on like how they actually work. The other theory is like, well, dark matter, is that a thing? Is that acting on those? What causes weak or strong nuclear bonds that keeps atoms together? So kind of like that level of physics that we're going into. Like, why do atoms stay together? Why do they operate the way they do?
Okay.
And then in that case, what causes if you can figure out what causes magnetism?
Yeah. How do they work?
And gravity, like what makes gravity a thing, and what causes nuclear bonds to happen?
Yeah.
Then you can understand how everything works.
I mean, that's what the insane clown posse was trying to figure out. Magnets. How do they work?
They're the known physicists, the insane clown posse. Yeah. Yeah. Those guys. So, why did this story become so popular? Why do you think?
I mean, it's understandable. World War II, we're talking World War II. We're talking, us against them. Advancements in science and technology, and like how wars are run, and how we're trying to beat them before they beat us, kind of thing. Like that's understandable, but are we going to let that get out though in the open?
Right.
But then it does get out in the open, so that becomes fascinating. Like people are like, well, what were we doing there?
And we also saw like in Operation Blue Book, like the government will let conspiracy theories propagate because they like the idea of confusion.
Sure, it's
helping their cause of trying to keep things secret.
Yeah.
So one thing that leads to this story becoming so popular is Jessup's suicide in 1959, like as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Then
4 years after the book came out.
4 years after the book and the incidents of Carl happened and became known.
Carl Alien.
Yeah. In 1965, a person named Vincent Gaddis published a book titled Invisible Horizons, True Mysteries of the Sea, and he recounted the story of the experiment from the Vero annotations. That's 1965.
So he had a copy of it.
So he he used it as like a reference for his book. Yeah. So he was using it as like actual science.
The primary source.
Yeah. Or he referenced it, I guess. Recounted the story in the book. And you figure like back in the 60s, we're talking about a time when like it wasn't like they're going on YouTube to learn the truth. Like they're just going to you get a book in the library, you figure it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Like if it's a book on like when you look at think about 1965, when you go find a book called Invisible Horizons, True Mysteries of the Sea, you're like, has to be true.
Yeah.
Especially by,
Yeah, what section of the library would that be in? Would it be like physics? Would that be in oceanography? Like, I don't know.
Garbage. I mean, the trash. Yeah. No, I don't know. I
fake news aisle.
They didn't have that yet. And then there was a book in 1978 titled Thin Air. In this book, set in the present day, a Naval Investigative Service officer investigates several threads linking wartime invisibility experiments to the conspiracy involving matter transmission technology. That's by George E. Simpson and Neil R. Berger. That was a novel. Yeah. So it's a story, but again, propagates this mystery still. This story.
Wasn't that this kind of thing with the airships, like with Jules Verne?
Yeah.
But like
that was part of the problem. Was you had at this time in the time of the airship stories,
development in like technology,
plus actual developments, plus stories,
right?
Novels,
Yellow
and
News,
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1979, a very popular book published came by an author named Charles Berlitz, who had written a best-selling book called Bermuda Triangle. His co-author was a ufologist, William Moore, published a book called Philadelphia Experiment, Project Invisibility. So there's a good connection between this like very popular, person or author and then another guy.
Are we going to the Bermuda Triangle being a thing?
Well, I think it was because of, yes, maybe. Okay. No, but it was like, no, it's saying that the Philadelphia Experiment was a book published by this association. This book expanded on the stories of bizarre happenings, but it left out unified field theories by Albert Einstein and the government cover-ups part. It was all based on Allen's letters to Jessup. So it was just primarily based on that. Didn't really talk about the science behind it.
Okay.
Next, the story was adapted into a 1984 time travel film called The Philadelphia Experiment, directed by Stuart Raffel. Loosely based on the experiment and the accounts of the experiment, but it like dramatized. Thank you. That's what I said, but I don't remember. It dramatized the core elements of the original story. So in 1989, Alfred Bielek came forward. He claimed to have been aboard the USS Eldridge during the experiments. In 1990, he was addressing the MUFON conference. He asserted that this film, the 1984 film, was largely consistent with the events claimed to have witnessed in 1943.
Oh.
He also would later to add details to the claims on a radio talk show, conferences, and the internet. So he kind of kept on pushing it. Right. Do you know what MUFON is?
No.
Okay.
What is it, Chris?
I hear it often. Like I always heard it during Coast to Coast.
Oh yeah.
It's the Mutual UFO Network. So it's basically a think tank that, like, actually like pretty well funded and like really well organized group that like.
This is a government?
No.
Okay.
It's like a independent type of thing, but like they actually are like, we want to actually understand what's going on with UFOs.
Okay.
They're not like a conspiracy theorist type of thing, although conspiracy theorists may use them as like that.
They're taking it as like looking at it as like a.
It's a nonprofit.
Taking a logical approach, a rational approach to
right.
it.
It's a nonprofit based in the U.S. of basically civilian volunteers who study these sightings.
Okay.
And it's pretty large. It has 4,000 members worldwide. A lot of their members are like actually scientists and stuff.
Okay.
Because they're like really looking at the data and being like, is this real or not? So they're pretty well understood.
So they're skeptical.
I think they take a good skeptical look at things, but also like an open mind to it. Like this could be possible or it could not. Yeah. So that is another reason why this Bielek guy in 1990 and later on throughout, he died, I think in 2008 he died. I could be wrong, but he was kind of another one who like, I was there and I saw this stuff happen. That everything in the film was true. So. So what are you thinking? I'm going to go into theories next. And what do you think?
It also seems that guy just kind of came out of the woodwork too.
Right. He said, I think the story was he like, when he saw the movie, it awakened the thoughts in his brain that they were erased or something. Was like the story behind him. Okay. Yeah.
So he wasn't one of the guys like stuck in the hole with his.
Maybe he was. I don't know how many fingers he had and stuff. Yeah. He didn't mention that.
Check his digits.
Yeah.
His finger count. All right.
What do you think's going on?
I honestly think this is a. I think I guarantee there would have been some testing with the U.S. government trying to do a cloaking thing like this. But whether it was successful like this in this case or non-successful, depending on how you categorize what happened, apparently, I think it was blown out of proportion. I don't think anyone was teleported or time traveled or anything like that. But I think the government kind of just let those things get out there.
Didn't really
maybe let the enemies think, hey, we got really far with this, which we're showing we're pretty close with what we can do here. Is that word would spread around and get back to the Nazis or the Japanese?
I think governments
possibly the future, the Soviets.
I mean, governments have to do this, right? They have to say that
misinformation.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's a war going on right now.
It's part of the game.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go into some theories here, and I have a really good, like, kind of I should also point out, like, there's one of my resources that I added comes from the Office of Naval Research.
No, geez.
Where they like directly address this because it became such a thing. Yeah.
All right.
But there's also some other research done by, scholars. So here's what we got. What I wanted to know was why did the Philadelphia experiment, kind of well known to be like, this is definitely a conspiracy theory, this is definitely didn't happen. The percentage of it actually happening is pretty low, right? Mm-hmm. So I went into it thinking like, okay, I was always interested in how conspiracy theories become a thing. Because like, I'm like, why do people actually believe this stuff? Whenever it's so obviously fake. Was the government building something? Probably. They were testing all kinds of stuff. They're always testing stuff. Companies are always testing. Government's always, like, there's always stuff being tested.
Sure.
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, a lot of people have jobs is to just do stuff like this, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the point.
Yeah. So here's the theories behind what we're talking about here. The one thing that came up with was what we call is like a pop culture kind of made it bigger.
Mm-hmm. So
the Philadelphia experiment was popularized in books and movies and television shows, and it was perpetuating that myth.
Yeah.
And reaching a wider audience using media.
Yeah.
And it
makes sense. Like, look at JFK's assassination.
Right. It blurred the lines of reality and fiction. Sure. And made people, because in passing, especially at this time, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, like, people were just either seeing it on TV, seeing it in part of a movie, seeing the actual movie, or reading it in books.
Right. There
was no one saying, hey, man, that's actually wrong. They're not going to, I always think that's interesting. Like, people are like, when you search for something on the internet of like, I'm going to look up, we see it a lot now with, especially in political situations. If you think that something is A, but one side says it's B, and you think that it's A, and you want to research that topic, it's well known that people research that topic and they go to any resource that says A, that defends their position.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
Right, so it's like not as cut and dry, like black and white.
Yeah.
Everything that's gray, which is most things in the world, they always go to A. Because like A is what I believe, and I'm going to go research this thing to learn more. They're never going to consider B.
Right.
Which drives me insane.
Yes.
Because usually the truth is always in the middle.
Yes.
Or it's some part in the middle.
But I think this gets exacerbated because, it's the end of World War II, atomic bomb, Cold War, a lot of uncertainty, with like fear of the unknown, especially when like the whole Roswell incident happened. Be like, well, is there other life out there? What are we doing? What are we doing to, like, are we safe from, Earth threats? Are we safe from extraterrestrial threats? So like this gets like further pushed in the mainstream and further debated upon and perpetuated. Like something like this, that happens. Like, what are we really doing out in the ocean? Are aliens involved with this?
It's wartime.
Yeah.
Another issue that we run into when it comes to theories is anecdotal accounts that are taken as
fact,
yeah. And that which is then perpetuated by popular media or by the popular culture. Some individuals claim to have been firsthand knowledge of experiences related to the Philadelphia experiment, adding a layer of credibility to the believers, especially whenever it comes from the government.
Mm-hmm.
It's being like researched by the government, and they're like, hey, the government's actually researching this and trying to figure out if it's true.
Right. Whether the government says it's true or not.
Like, and like they're following up with it. So
that means something.
Yes, that means that it gives it more credibility.
There's something there.
So that's kind of like a credibility thing. Accounts, even if they're unverified, anecdotal accounts can be reinforced belief in the conspiracy because some people are swayed to A or B. They're already swayed. Right. They already think this happens.
Their opinion's already made.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just looking for...
It's almost impossible to change someone's opinion, especially whenever you're pushing back against it.
Yeah.
It's like one of the worst things you can do when someone believes A is try to be like, no, you're wrong.
Right.
Because they're never gonna change it. That's even gonna make them dig in more.
Yes. Yeah.
Which leads into another theory of confirmation bias. Once people become interested in the Philadelphia experiment, they may seek out the information that confirms this.
Yeah.
Confirms that it's true. Well, dismissing any evidence against it, especially whenever you have the government involved.
Yep.
Because what people say who believe in it say, well, the government erased their brains or the government did this,
Yeah.
which is always an issue.
Yeah.
When people cannot
That doesn't happen anymore.
never want You're true. People never want to see the other side or never even consider it.
Yeah.
Which is perpetuated by the internet a lot. Because it's faceless part of the internet. But like,
then you just find like-minded people on the internet who further push that.
yes. Another theory is the idea of a lack of critical thinking because the allure of mystery and sensationalism in the story is so captivating. They think it has to be true because it's so much interesting than rather than a simple idea.
And I think that's why conspiracy theories are so captivating for people. Like they tend to want to believe that because like
more fantastical.
More fantastical, yeah.
It's
rather than the obvious answer or just not knowing. They're like, something has to, otherworldly or shady is happening. It must be, conspiracy theory.
It's and there's research done that says people are more inclined to accept a narrative at face value rather than critically evaluating it at its veracity, because to evaluate it takes work.
That's so sad.
And also, it's not as interesting.
Yeah, it's not as fun.
Yeah, whenever you find out, when it leads you to like it's not actually true, it's not interesting.
Yeah,
especially because when you look at like, it's crazy when you look at like scientific conspiracy theories. It's always interesting when people like. I love when people say like, that's not true. Because the scientists are not telling us that it's true.
Right.
But then you're like, talk to scientists and they're like, I don't have time to look into that. I'm trying to actually solve problems here. I don't have time to go after chase these conspiracy theories to prove that these things are not true.
Right.
And now I think, thankfully, in some cases, people like scientists are being like, we need to actually show people how the conspiracy theories are not true and how dangerous they are.
Yeah.
Finally, people are starting to think that. But like scientists, especially when it comes to like medical science, they're like, I don't have time to prove this crap. I'm trying to actually solve problems over here. And that's what a lot of problems when it comes down to. It's like, scientists are not saying it's wrong. It's because scientists don't know. They're saying I don't know because they haven't looked into it.
Yeah.
They're not saying it's wrong. They're just like, maybe or maybe not. I just haven't had the research.
Right.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Right. And another issue is complexity and ambiguity. The events surrounding the experiments are complex and shrouded in ambiguity, making it difficult to definitively disprove the conspiracy theory. Again, scientists are not saying this is why that never happened.
Nor the government, so that doesn't help either.
Right, because the government's probably trying to...
they want misinformation, maybe.
Yeah. So they're kind of helping itself, which actually does a service to society later. The ambiguity leaves room for speculation and imagination, allowing myth to persist.
Of course, yeah.
And I think we've seen this throughout history.
Yes.
There's two more. One is the idea of a conspiracy culture that we have perpetuated through popular culture and media. The Philadelphia experiment is a part of a broader culture of conspiracy theorists or theories where people are inclined to believe in secret government experiments and cover-ups. Such narratives often tap into the general distrust of authorities and institutions.
Yep.
So, and now it's kind of these all theories kind of connect together in weird ways.
Yeah, they definitely do. Yeah.
But here is one of the ones that seems to be like, okay, that makes total sense. What actually happened? And again, the government hasn't come out and said this is what happened.
They haven't denied it.
Right. But they did come out and say Philadelphia experiment is total not real.
Okay.
But I mean, the Office of Naval Research said that. But what is known as degaussing experiments?
The what?
Degaussing.
Okay.
Degaussing. My first experience with degaussing. Degaussing?
How's it spelled?
Degaussing?
Supposed to be deguessing?
Yeah. Was a Gauss gun in Halo. And also in Metal Gear Solid games.
Yeah.
So, personnel at 4th Naval District have suggested that the alleged event was a misunderstanding of routine research during World War II at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. One theory that is the foundation of the stories arose from the degaussing experience, which have the effect of making a ship undetectable or invisible to magnetic mines. Researcher Jacques Vallée, in his 1994 paper, described a procedure on the USS Engstrom, which was docked alongside the Eldridge in 1943. The operation involved the generation of powerful electromagnetic field on board the ship in order to deperm. In order to
Get rid
deperm
of all the sailors' perms.
Yes, get rid of them perms. Wait till the 80s. Or degauss it, with the goal of rendering the ship undetectable or invisible to magnetically fused undersea mines and torpedoes.
All right.
Degaussing,
what's degaussing?
is the process of decreasing or eliminating a remnant of magnetic field.
Okay.
So it's getting rid of magnetism. Making all that metal not magnetic.
Okay.
Because the mines at the time would want to stick their
That was a thing
magnets.
in Halo?
The Gauss gun. It was on the back of a Warthog.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh. We did that. Vallée cites a veteran who served on the USS Engstrom and who suggests it might have traveled from Philadelphia to Norfolk and back again in a single day at a time when merchant ships could not, by the use of the Chesapeake and Delaware Canal in the Chesapeake Bay, because it was, which at the time was open only to naval vessels during the 40s.
Okay.
So it was able to get to Norfolk quickly because it was able to use those other channels that other ships were not. So basically what happened was this ship, they docked together and they were doing experiments on how they could make them invisible quotes, unquotes.
So they just look similar? Was that part of the confusion?
No, the confusion was these ships were right next to each other and they were creating large magnetic, trying to do experiments on getting rid of magnetic field. So it wasn't so much a visual thing because none of the people weren't on the ship. It was like experiment to try to not make ships
magnetic.
Yeah. Right. And so the ships being stuck together may have been.
Were they moving together?
No, they were just docked together to do the experiments.
But how would that explain how one got?
Then that ship specifically went from Philadelphia to Norfolk and back in one day.
Yeah.
Because they could use
certain channels
that the other ships weren't allowed to because of the war. Because at the time, from what I understand, is they closed off those.
Yeah, which would make sense.
Because
commercial.
Because they didn't want to allow.
Yeah, enemy vessels getting in and out of there, or commercial ships.
Specifically submarines.
Right.
So they didn't have the
boats.
Merchant ships didn't have the ability to detect them.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
So that's the idea, and that's the story, and that's the theories behind this. But I want to clarify that as the story has evolved, as the story or episode has evolved, I'm more interested in this story as a understanding of popular culture of why conspiracy theories persist, or what the reason why I want to know the story is what happened from the beginning of it,
point A to point
to now, why it's still understood as some say it's a conspiracy theory, some say that it's truth and it actually happened and the government's covering it up.
Yeah,
for example,
good.
A reunion of Navy veterans who served aboard the USS Eldridge told a Philadelphia newspaper in 1999 that their ship has never made port in Philadelphia. Yeah. Further evidence discounts the Philadelphia experiment timeline comes from the USS Eldridge Complete World War II Action Report, including the remarks in their 1943 deck log. But because of media, popular culture, specifically a movie, other authors making books, we have the conspiracy theory today that is known to be truth to some people.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking?
So these guys are saying that they were never
people on the boat.
Ever docked there.
Yes. Oh, geez. Oh, cheeses.
Hamburgers.
Yeah.
I think that, like, I mean, well, you had to throw that in at the end, but
No, they could. Now these are
magnetic
military guys.
I know.
They could have been like, they could have been just towing the line so they don't get put in jail for.
That's true.
They could have just be
For
saying
the
that.
real,
Right.
the real reason,
right,
of teleporting.
They could have been paid off, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this ship teleported or jumped through time and space or been in time and space. I do certainly think that's definitely possible. The government was, testing things of bending light to decoy, or not decoy, but like to hide themselves. And I think the best explanation seems to be the electromagnetic one, where like they're trying to degauss themselves. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
They could move freely through a lot of these ports or channels that commercial ships couldn't get through. I mean, that makes sense.
Do you think it was just government cover up?
Yeah, but not a conspiracy theory kind of thing, like in the traditional sense that like people think conspiracy theories is like, what we've gone through some of this particular instance, but the government's probably just not saying because like they don't want people necessarily to fully know what they were doing.
Of course.
Or the capabilities of what they had to do. I'm sure they let it get embellished so their enemies could be like, oh, they've gotten further along in this cloaking capability than we have. So they kind of like, a little nervous. I mean, that's disinformation. But I wouldn't necessarily say, as I can say, it was a conspiracy theory, though, kind of thing.
I think it's all about the government probably loved that it became a.
Sure, yeah.
They probably loved this story because they were like, we can hide what we're doing.
Yeah.
So the Nazis or whoever doesn't know we have the technology, possibly have the technology to make our ships not be able to be connected to mines or attract mines or torpedoes.
Yeah.
I believe they were.
And this is also after Pearl Harbor. Like, that's what got us into World War II.
Yep. Like,
the Navy, like, our Navy got bombed, almost destroyed in, Hawaii. So that probably pushed them to try and find some kind of technology to hide their ships like that,
The thing is really interesting about like how America was really unprepared, the Navy was really unprepared for World War II. And they were like building ships as fast. Like we only had like 5 aircraft carriers at the time or something crazy like that in all of the Pacific. So it was like, I mean, ships take a long time to build.
Yeah. It'd be understandable for them to want to develop some kind of technology like this. So something that wouldn't happen again.
Right. So they couldn't, and also they could operate them without, not being attacked by just mines.
So they wouldn't want that kind of information getting out. I would imagine. Maybe that's a conspiracy. I don't know.
Well,
that's what I think. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's obviously, again, I wanted to know, I started looking at the story because I want to know why how conspiracy theories become so popular.
I do find that fascinating.
And it looks like the ramblings of a crazy person publishing of things.
Yeah.
Like, why did this guy say that? Like, why would he take the time to do all that?
Also, why would Jessup kill himself?
I think apparently he had mental health issues, and also his he had a divorce and stuff like that. Like, I think it was just a combination of a lot of things. And like his career was on the down. Like, he was not selling any books, and like he was like not making any money, I guess, from it. Like his, I guess that book that he did publish was kind of a flop.
Okay.
From what I understand. And like people were like, he kind of like all like his ufologist friends, like the people that kind of looked at him as like a good source, kind of like, oh man, you would publish this crap? Like they thought a lot of people at the time thought that this was just complete garbage.
Sure, yeah.
The story was complete garbage, but then the Varro edition got really popular for some reason. And then the other stories started using the Varro edition in the story to like, and it kind of made it, if you take a story out long enough.
Is there any like theories or conspiracy theories about who the Mr. A, Mr. B were?
I think there was research done about that. Apparently, they think that it was all just, what's his name?
Oh,
Carl
Allen.
Coral. Yeah, Carlos.
Meredith Allen.
Yes. I think that from what I understand, it was known that it was just that guy.
Yeah.
And he was just using different colored pens or something like that.
The conspiracy theory, it doesn't help that the government wasn't saying yes or no, fully denying anything,
right?
fully accepting anything. So of course that's gonna, cause concern and rumors to start, and people think, oh, there's something going on here. They're just not telling us. It keeps happening today.
Right. And I think you have a guy like an insane person like Carl, who, for some reason, got the attention of the ONR, government agency.
Right.
And that kind of made it kind of like, if that got out that people at ONR were kind of going around talking, the worst thing they could have did was talk to Jessup.
Right.
And Varro.
Yeah.
If they want to keep it quiet and not let it explode into this big, unless maybe that's what they wanted to do. So, that's all we got today. That's all I have. I have nothing else. I think it's silly story.
It's cool though, man.
No. I think when I say silly,
never heard
I think
anything
it's
like
a silly
that before.
thing that like we're looking into something like that. Let me say that again. I think that it's a silly story that blew up to much bigger than it probably could have been or would have been, or if they had just he threw that box in the garbage. If the guy who opened the
junk mail.
Yeah. And Jessup was probably trying to capitalize on something that all of a sudden was like the government was looking into. Like I said, he didn't say anything that he knew Allende. He knew who that was because he wanted the government to like
blow it up.
Yeah. He wanted the government to keep. If he would have said, "Oh, that's this crazy guy that's been emailing me or sending mail to me," they would have been like, "Okay, that's it," and they would have thrown it in the garbage.
Yeah. What year did Albert Einstein die? Do you have any idea?
Old Albie.
I wonder if he ever like chimed in on any of this. I feel like he might have already been dead by the time this blew up. Could be wrong.
Albert, Old Allie. 55.
Yeah. So right when the book was published?
Yeah.
Did he kill Jessup?
59.
Book was published in 55.
Jessup's book was published in 55. And that's also whenever Allende sent his copies out.
You mean Albert?
Carlos
Allende.
Albert.
Allende?
Yeah. If you just put it backwards. If you read his book backwards, it says Albert Einstein.
I am Albert Einstein.
Yes. Yeah. 79. Yeah.
The old master leg puller himself, Albert Einstein.
The ultimate leg puller.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have come to the end of this fantastic story. If I do say so, myself. Jordan, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, everybody out there, for being here. If you want to help us out, find us on social media at Mysterious Pals, at Mysterious_Pals on Twitter. Find us on YouTube. If you're listening to us, you can go over to YouTube and subscribe. If you're not listening to us, you're watching us, go over to any podcast platform and follow us. Leave us comments, send us emails. All of our contact information is in the notes below. If you want to find us more directly, just go to MysteriousPals.com. That's MysteriousPals.com. That is MysteriousPals.com, not to be confused with Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Where was the one?
Mr. A, Mr. B.
Yeah.
Mr. A, Mr. Beast.
We're not them.
No, we're not them at all. Not even close.
Clearly.
Thank you, everybody out there. If you listen to us, continue to listen to us. We love you. We thank you. We are so grateful. Tell all your friends. Tell all your enemies. If you want to ruin their day, send them one of our episodes.
Yeah, one of the really dark ones.
Yeah.
Or the ones where we go on like an hour-long tangent.
Just give them the tangent sections. But anyway, thank you all. And we will see you next time. Jordan, thank you again.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.